Welcome back, guys. We're going to be continuing on to talk a little bit more about the drone life. One of the areas that we really want to hit hard on is talking a little bit about some of the challenges some of you drone pilots or prospective drone pilots will experience and what's actually happening out there in the market right now. We wanted to lead in with we had something that just really struck home. One of the comments out on one of our channels, Gary Garrison, co-founder of DJI Colorado, he mentioned a statement on one of our social streams that really just hit home with us. And one of the things he said is you shouldn't start the drone business. You shouldn't just start getting into the drone business. It's typically adding drones as part of an existing business, whether it's photography, videography, mapping, etc., whatever that may be. That really resonated with us because it is a critical component of your next steps of how you're using your drone service. Drones are a supplement to an extension of your superpower of what you utilize within your current skill set to make you unique and make your business elevate to the next level.
We got to get Kerry on here.
Yeah, we got
to get him on.
Yeah. So, Tyler, what do you think about that? Like when we're talking about like as an extension to your pre-existing business, whether it's photography, videography, mapping, whatever it may be, as Kerry mentioned before, how does that reflect into, say if someone's doing photography, what is he saying there?
Well, I think he's just saying that, from his perspective and from his time in the business, it's not something that someone can just jump into, you definitely have to crawl before you can walk in this industry.
Purpose, right?
Yeah. You have to have something
purpose.
here.
Yeah.
So you have to have a direction. You have to know what you're doing because as a beginner, you're thinking, hey, I'm just going to just jump right into doing construction and farming and agro. And
I'm just trying to find work, right? I want to use this drone to make money.
Right.
See, that's the wrong approach. Right. Totally the wrong approach.
Yeah, you have to have you have to have a direction about what you want to do. And, it's a business. You have to have a business plan, and if you're not coming from, like he says, bringing a part of your existing business, whether it be photography, videography, or mapping, I think he's just basically saying we need more experience in the, but unfortunately you have to start somewhere.
Right.
So,
and, and in a lot of spaces, even in my other software business, on our sales side, we always call it losing fast is if you go into a market and you don't really know who the players are or know where your presence should be. It's how you can lose real fast. You can lose a lot of time. You can lose a lot of money. And, that's totally the wrong way of going into the drone life, making a part of your business. I honestly believe that, and this is not just within the drone life itself, but in business in general, you definitely need to kind of know your space and where you fit in within it. So if you're in drone services, what is the drone service, right? What market should you start with? And, that's a lot of questions we hear from our pilots as well is where should I start? What market should I focus on? Where do I begin with this within drone services? What's most profitable? Where should I spend most of my time really focusing on to extend my brand? So what do you think about that, Tyler? just kind of touching on that point.
Well, as somebody who, I'll speak from my experience. It was something that, I wanted to get into. I was trying to say, where do I start? You know, what do I do? I didn't really have like a good engine to get me going. You know, we all, we're familiar with these, large, connecting you with jobs and everything. And, and a lot of these places, they take a lot of your money, I mean, and you have to know your worth. And I'm not saying, as an amateur, you're going out there and you're doing real estate jobs. And, I'm telling you right now, you're not making $300-$400 for a real estate job.
That's ludicrous.
It's not going to happen, unless you can guarantee me you are going to sell that damn house in 48 hours. You ain't getting that money.
Yeah. And, and some of the things that we hear too with that is it also depends on where you're at, like we had another pilot actually mention to us. He talked a little bit about, well, if someone's going to pay it, then, charge it. Right. So I don't know if I don't 100% agree with that, is like, just, get as much as you can from your customers, like it's really going to come down to, especially because, other people talk, right?
Well, yeah.
So if you're going to say like, hey, I need you to come out and take 5 photos. And then you go to the person down the road and they heard about you from Joe down the street and said, well, this is what I pay for it.
Right.
Why did they charge you like triple that?
Right.
Just because you're you got to be careful with that. You have to know where your price point is. You have to know what your service charge is, knowing your worth, and be consistent. Consistency, I think, is really, really important, especially if you're starting out and you're looking at, setting your price point. And that's going to be definitely variable, like you said.
Well, I mean, it's going to be contingent on your area too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in northern Indiana here,
Yeah.
We're not getting LA prices.
No, we're not going to get LA prices.
But then again, you're also paying $4.50 for a gallon of gas, and I'm paying $2. So
right. Very true. So pilots out there should not be setting their rates in the Midwest to LA. Yeah. To the LA market.
Well, right.
So when you're going out there and you're doing research and you're saying, hey, I'm going to independently, I'm trying to find out my pricing. Don't base your prices on what's happening in LA if you're in the Midwest. Look at currently what the going rate is in your area. And, over at Drone Broker, that's something that we're actively always researching and making sure we are getting fair prices to customers and making sure the pilots are getting paid appropriately.
Well, right.
Based on the market in their demographic area, in the area that they're actually doing the work.
Right.
So, like some pilots can make more money depending on where they're at, but the cost of living is different too.
Well, right. Well, it's definitely helped that, it's good that we've established this relationship with Drone Broker where they've found a way to help you as an amateur to get to where you want to be. They look past as you just being a pawn of their business. Mm-hmm. They say, how can we help you grow in your area? It's not you don't work for us. We work with you. Mm-hmm. So we help you grow. And that's one of the things that I liked about Drone Broker. And, I know they have a long-term vision for you, especially in this growing market, because, like in our last episode, when we were talking about, where the drone market was to where the drone market's going, and, if you missed that, so we're just saying, 5 years ago, drones and, I was flying my drone over my
it was a novelty, right?
Right.
At that point, you're talking novelty.
Right.
It's inception, of growing market.
Right.
That, you say, like we were saying 20 years ago, you wouldn't even imagine some of the things that we're doing now.
Right.
So if you're looking at it in that space, you're talking about drones are actually being a part of it's no longer a novelty. It's actively becoming part of our culture.
For sure. And
that's when we're talking about drone life. Drone life it's a life. It's a culture. Yeah. It's a being. So as you're going into any type of business, especially within the drone market, it's identifying, who your target customer is. And, if you're if you're specializing in a space like Carrie mentioned before, he mentioned, hey, you need to make this a part of your existing business. So if you're a photographer, if you're a photographer and you want to enhance your photography by adding more context.
Well, I mean, but look at the guy. Look at Barry Penley after that. He said, that's a great answer, Carrie. I use drone to create videos when I train people to insulate homes. So he owns an insulation business.
Right. Exactly.
So he found a way. Okay, I own this insulation business. How can drones further my business and save me money and time and cost? And he found a
niche.
He found his niche.
He found his niche, right? But that being said, you're discovering that space of expertise that you're currently already in.
This is Jonathan Lee. Don't do it.
Well, and by that statement, that's an awesome statement. It's not negative.
Yeah.
It says, don't start a business if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
That's a hard hitting point.
Well, I mean,
it's true, right?
I mean, you can find 10,000 ways for something not to work. You only need to find that one way for it to work. So,
right.
That's kind of why we've partnered with Drone Broker, and they've found that way to make this business work, to excel you as a pilot, to help their customer base, to help them grow, to find where are they, where can we be their supplement, so where are you losing money? Where's your overhead costs going? Where your time, employees, insurance. And so, working with them, we've definitely seen kind of like a lot of what Carrie talks about here, diving into connecting with people who've been there, who've done that, and using their experience and their failures to, turn that into a positive for people who are looking to get into that market, and obviously, like we had said in our previous episode, the first thing you can do, as a starter, even if you already have your Part 107 and get more informed, go to Drone Pilot Ground School. They have excellent resources.
Yeah,
I mean, that email that we get every week, once and twice a week from Alan, it is chock filled with information, what's going on. And, that's a great resource to be using that. And if you don't have your Part 107, I recommend get with Drone Pilot Ground School. Art's used it. He loved it.
It's amazing.
It's
amazing program. Yeah.
It's a great program. I mean, and for the cost, you can get
priceless.
You can get through it quickly. So, so one of the things going forward, a lot of these other guys, they talk about, knowing drone regulations and airspace, knowing how to price your services and to compete, and be able to actually pull off some high quality cinematic shots, we're thinking we're going to go out there with these new, $2,000, $3,000 drones, and we're just going to look like Hollywood types of shots. It's just not going to happen, Well, and they're also helping you, but
and also really just kind of digging into that, looking at it as, what the heck are you doing? What's your business? Do you need that? If you're just doing a basic surveillance, you're just kind of looking around to see what's in the area, and you're not doing mapping or anything like that. You're just kind of doing a light survey, doing prospecting, you really don't have to have the $30,000 or $40,000 setups. That may be something that a Mavic Pro 2 is suitable for.
Right.
If you're not shooting a movie, you're not doing Hollywood videos, and you're just doing shooting an event, or something simple like that.
We're connected with a pilot in in Springfield, Illinois. Tim Sully of Bird's Eye View. I mean, he goes out there with his Mavic 2 Pro. And,
it's amazing.
He's shooting great shots of virility shots.
So your price point getting into the business, it's about $1,700 to $2,000. You could start getting in and finding your niche. That's number one, finding your niche, where you're going to start, and then making sure you have the right equipment to fulfill whatever service you're going to be providing. So I think that Tim is doing an excellent job there by saying, hey, well, I'm going to get started. You have to get started somewhere. And he's going out pursuing real estate. And that is a phenomenal place to get started, especially looking at flight time, skill set, and actually working on your skills of shooting photography and video. I mean, it's a good place, as you mature as a pilot, there's other spaces, depending on your market of what you're trying to do. That's why getting started in a space where you're getting the flight time and actually experience, you're able to see how can I apply this to my business. Now, that is something to really kind of take home on, because if your existing business requires a high level of flight skill, and you do not have it, getting your Part 107 that's just a starting point for your business. You need to get experience. Yeah. So that means
you need to get out there.
Flight time. You gotta put in some flight time. You gotta practice.
It's like driving a car, man.
Like driving a car, right?
Right. You think, for the longest time, I thought before I started driving, okay, you can make fun of me. It's okay. I thought cars just drove straight. Like you didn't have to keep adjusting the wheel, left and right. And, but.
Or it's like, hey, I've been driving a vehicle for, over 30 years now, 30 plus years. And guess what? I decide I'm going to purchase a semi. And I'm just not going to...
Big dog.
The big dog.
Big dog's got to eat.
Yeah. And I'm just getting in there. I don't have any experience whatsoever. I just put it to the floor, baby. How's that going to end up? Probably not so well. So, it takes experience. It takes time.
Ironically, I have my CDL.
I know you do.
I can actually drive a semi. I can actually drive a double semi. Not triples yet. I didn't get my license. I'm not triple certified. I don't want to drive that stuff. It's too big. I don't hear that too often, but it's too big. I'm talking about my shoe size.
Okay. Okay. Just checking in on that. So I mean, that's so with any type of business, you kind of have to scale out and just know where your place is.
Yeah. So for you, let's kind of wrap that up. So for you, what are your top 3 challenges? What are your, for beginners, what do you see the top 3 challenges for someone who is looking to get into the market?
Yeah, that's definitely one of that's the huge.
They call that a curveball. That curve. So, okay. So I say
he's hungry. Yeah, I'm hungry. Top 3 challenges. When you're looking at the top 3 challenges, getting into the drone market and drone services, period. A lot of the things you have to consider have nothing to do with flying your drone at all. Okay. Some of the things have nothing to do with that. Part of it is, number one, I think you have to really look at discipline. And if it's something that you want to get into, it's getting organized, understanding all your facts, knowing what you can and cannot do. And that's one of those first steps with getting your Part 107. So just knowing the logistics, knowing the lay of the land, knowing the rules. That's step 1. Number 2 is, your business component. Yeah, keeping track of, all of your operations, dealing with your billables, your time, looking at, even if it's staffing, maybe it's more than you. You have visual observers, you have payroll, you have people to deal with that you have to supplement or take care of, and then, really, and within that one too, just kind of looking at what type of equipment are you going to need to fulfill the service that you're trying. And
right.
And, and a lot of that comes down to that number 1 again. The challenge is do your homework, research. It takes time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
That's where you're going into patience. Really, it takes time do your homework. Do the research necessary to understand what you're going to need to execute your business and be successful with it. And, you know, the third one I would say too is the really one is identifying your clientele, your customer base. That whole sales acquisition and networking, and that's an animal. Yeah. It's huge. Okay. So one of the challenges that we see, especially over like at Drone Broker, is pilots they just want to fly. They want to do the jobs. They want to do the work.
Right.
And, you know, they're flying or they're behind the screen. Some of them are doing editing work.
Yeah.
They don't have time to go out and prospect and market to get new business.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the biggest challenges too for them is getting out there in front of customers. Right. I mean, and that's where, Drone Broker fills that gap.
And negotiations.
Yeah.
Negotiating pricing. Yeah. And that's a lot of your time when you're negotiating in the field, trying to figure out, trying to do proposals, get quotes out, and try to take care of all that business. And here's the kicker. If you have no experience really doing that, that's going to be really one of your challenges. It's going to be a big challenge for you.
Right.
And that's why we've kind of identified some of the gaps there, just kind of helping out in that space to let pilots just fly, just let them fly and, do what they love doing. So Tyler, what do you think out of some of those challenges for you? Just to spin this around, even for Drone Broker, let's say even for brokers to say working with customers, what's one of those challenges that you think that we over at Drone Broker experience that every pilot is going to experience too? And it's common. And that's why we're taking, putting the effort towards to making sure we're working through some of those like negotiations or like what are you seeing out there?
Right. So, one of the things that I think can be the hardest, one of the hardest matching points for, a pilot is obviously time. Most of us flying, doing stuff like that, we work 9 to 5 jobs. We have families.
Drone Broker is 9 to 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We have, we have normal jobs, because, only a small percent of this market right now is doing this full time.
Right.
But these are the guys who are, spending the time and the resources and getting to know the market, getting to know their areas. They're the ones like what Carrie's talking about, in a broader picture. He's saying, they're finding out, what do roofers need? Mm-hmm. What do construction companies need? What are insurance companies needing? He is breaking down the dichotomy of what services that they can provide to these businesses, and they offer a value. They show them the value, So that's one thing that, we definitely want to help, try to explain to everybody is how we can show the value of your business. Mm-hmm. And, that's a huge proponent. And, connecting with customers, that's a tough thing to do.
Right.
It's something that still I talk to plenty of pilots, they don't have time.
Right.
How do you get in front of a customer? Because at the end of the day, people buy from people. And that's why Drone Broker can fill that gap. They can help you get in front of those customers. You do you. You do you, boo-boo. You do your business. You take care of you. What do you like to do? You just want to get out there and fly. There are guys who like to do the logistics and they like to go through that, and that's fine.
And that's great. That's
completely
awesome.
Fine. We're not going to appeal to everybody.
Right. And the objective is not to really replace drone services or drone companies whatsoever. We're here as a utility.
We're here as we're the supplement.
We're supplement, correct. Yeah. So if you're a roofer and you're looking at trying to increase your productivity with your inspections, and you're considering drone aerial photography or mapping, plotting of through storm damage or whatever it may be, that's an excellent example of implementing drones within your existing service that you're providing, is building efficiency, through an extension of the brand.
Yeah. So, I feel like through this episode, we've definitely tackled quite a bit and, the challenges in starting up and, kind of where to go. We're in our second episode now and we're kind of talking about where, our first episode we tackled, okay, this is where you start. Mm-hmm. And, this is what you're going to face.
Yeah, we're just diving in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then soon to be coming, we're going to be talking about, okay, what's the next step after this? Where should you start looking? What resources should you be using to help you find jobs? We'll touch a little bit in equipment too. We don't actually have a lot of this equipment in front of us, but we are versed well enough to know what these drones can do, and so we'll definitely be getting a hold of some of the pilots that have this equipment and giving you their reviews. We'll be interviewing them, talking to them. And so,
giving you guys the kind of the bleeding edge of what equipment should you be using, like what's going to be the best to get the best results. And that's what, any craftsman is good as the tools they use. So that's why we want to make sure that you are prepared to have all the right facts and the right tools to get your job done.
Yeah.
So to the next time, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you for listening to us. Peace off.